Hello Wildcat fans, and welcome to this week's edition of the ZonaZoo Sports Report. I'm Maddy Rundin, and I'm here alongside Ben Blue Eyes Gabrielson. Now you have a nickname too. And to go along with that special nickname, Ben, it's somewhat of a special day for you, right? You are officially a year older today. It is your birthday, but I'm going to have to say, you don't seem that much wiser.
Well, that was a low blow, Maddy. But blue eyes, I can go with that. I'm also a blue shirt today as well.
There you go.
We'll see how wise I am.
Blue eyes,
we'll
right?
see how wise I am when we go to that Holiday Bowl debate.
Okay, great. Well, as my birthday present to you, I will let you talk about the biggest news to come out of Arizona athletics this week.
Well, thank you for being so kind to your elders, Maddy.
The 2009 Pacific Life Holiday Bowl will be played December 30th in sunny San Diego, as the Arizona Wildcats will take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Nebraska is coming off absolute heartbreak in the Big 12 championship game when they fell to Texas off a last-second field goal. But the Huskers showed that they may be on their way back to national prestige as they held the Texas Longhorns to 18 yards rushing and picked off Texas quarterback and Heisman frontrunner Colt McCoy 3 times. So as Nebraska is coming off a dismal loss, the Wildcats are coming off a huge win against USC in LA, setting up a huge rematch of the 1998 Holiday Bowl when Arizona beat Nebraska in front of the second highest attended Holiday Bowl ever, 23-20. The game will be televised on ESPN and kickoff is set for 5 p.m. at Qualcomm Stadium. Arizona will be riding a 3-game bowl winning streak.
Well, Ben, they are playing your hometown team, Nebraska. But let's first talk about the game that moved the Wildcats into second place in the Pac-10. The Wildcats had not beaten USC since Mike Stoops became the head football coach 6 years ago. That is what you call a drought. But Arizona had that statistic on their mind as they ventured into the Coliseum in Los Angeles. The Wildcats' offense looked anemic last week against Arizona State, but they sure recovered nicely. Arizona scored the first touchdown in the game on a Nick Foles to DeLaShawn Dean pass. The touchdown came after USC quarterback Matt Barkley was picked off by Trevin Wade on the USC 37-yard line. The Trojans quickly answered with a touchdown of their own, and it seemed the two teams would be going back and forth all night. However, Nick Foles executed a quarterback sneak in the second quarter to give the Wildcats a 14-7 lead at halftime. The only time the Trojans led in the game was after a touchdown in the third quarter, and then a field goal early in the fourth quarter gave USC a 17-14 lead. Nick Foles had some trouble throwing the ball after halftime, but he made completions when it counted the most. With less than 5 minutes left, Nick Foles completed a pass to Jerron Kreiner, who used his great athletic ability to get the ball into the end zone. The Wildcat defense held off some desperate attempts by USC, and the Cats prevailed 21-17. With the win, the Cats entered a 3-way tie for second in the Pac-10, along with Stanford and Oregon State, but holds the tiebreaker over both teams. Now, Ben, as you mentioned, the team is headed to San Diego, but not to the Poinsettia Bowl, like many experts predicted.
Mail time!
Ooh, mail time here. First time I think we've gotten a mail.
I'm excited.
On the ZonaZoo Sports Report. Looks like a nicely handwritten letter from Ronald Bodenheimer from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Ronald wants to know who the key players are, who the key factors are, and what's going to happen in that Holiday Bowl.
Well, it is going to be a very good matchup between Arizona and Nebraska that just lost a really close game to number 2 rated Texas that is actually now going to play in the national championship game. So only lost by a field goal, kind of a heartbreaker for Nebraska.
Absolutely, and I think when you look at that Nebraska Cornhusker team, you have to start on defense. Obviously, the big man in the middle, Ndamu Kangsu, whose name literally means House of Spears. That man is a menace. He will be going for only the second player ever to be named the Heisman Trophy winner. He was announced as a finalist earlier this week. He will go to New York, which is a huge deal, especially for a defensive tackle.
Absolutely. Well, that is quite a name for a player, haven't seen much like it. But, the Arizona offense also has a lot to offer, too. I mean, Arizona is number 1 in the nation in punt returns, which with Bug Wright, who actually leads the nation, he is number 1 in the nation with 19 yards per return. So, I mean, the Nebraska defense is going to go up a pretty good Arizona offense.
Absolutely, and you have to see that as the key matchup. Nebraska's offense couldn't do anything in that Big 12 championship game, and really all season they didn't look very good. But that defense for the Cornhuskers is the number 1 ranked scoring defense in the entire country. They give up 11 points a game.
11 points a game. Arizona will have their hands full, as we said, especially with Ndamu Kangsu. But there were also 3 different members on that defense that were named National Defensive Players of the Week. So they do have other weapons that most people don't know about and just don't get the recognition as Sue.
That's right. Well, but also Arizona does have what they've made so infamous is the no-name defense, where they don't really have a great standout player. Earl Mitchell actually has been a great presence on the Arizona defense. They've kind of gotten by. They beat USC with that defense. When Foles was struggling a little bit there in the third, he finally got it together at the end in the fourth quarter. But the Arizona defense has been keeping the Arizona in games. I'm going to pick Arizona because I believe in the underdog. No. And I really do truly believe. If they can play Oregon that close, I feel like they're going to give Nebraska a really good game.
It will be an absolutely great game.
Well, that was fun. Now, our very own Lisa Lane has an update about Arizona swimming, a women's volleyball update, and Holiday Bowl ticket information.
Swimming and diving sweep Texas, and our women's volleyball team gets knocked out of the tournament. I'm Lisa Lane, and tonight I have all this and some information about the Holiday Bowl. The Arizona men's and women's swimming teams swept the Texas Hall of Fame Swimming and Diving Invitational Saturday. Some standouts include Anna Aggie, who won the 200 backstroke, and Jordan Smith, who won the men's 100 free. To close the invitational, Arizona won both 400 relays with the women's foursome and men's foursome. Arizona will resume its dual meet schedule when the women host NAU and Oregon State on January 8th. It was very exciting to see both UA swimming teams finish in first place. The women's volleyball team, on the other hand, did not do as well. Playing in its first NCAA tournament in 4 years, the number 19 Arizona volleyball team fell to unranked Texas A&M. The team was able to claim set 1 easily, however they lost the following 3 due to the Aggies' efficient serving and passing. However, despite the loss, Tiffany Owens and Whitney Dostie had 18 kills, Courtney Karst had 14 kills, and Paige Weber had 44 assists and 15 digs. Great numbers for these girls despite the losing effort. Lastly, I want to wrap things up with some Pacific Life Holiday Bowl details. As we all know, our football team is heading to the beautiful San Diego. The game kicks off at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, December 30th. We want Qualcomm Stadium to be packed with Arizona fans, so make sure to buy your tickets as soon as possible. Unfortunately, the pre-sale tickets ordered for ZonaZoo Pass members is now over. However, you can still buy tickets through McHale Box Office as they are now open to the public. Tickets are $60, but I recommend you buying them with a group of friends so you can divide the $21 fee they are charging for shipping and handling. Well, Cats, that is all the time I have for you this evening. I'm Lisa Lane. Back to you, Ben and Maddy.
All right, thanks for that update, Lisa. Arizona basketball was in action last week as they took on the number 21 ranked UNLV Rundin Rebels in what turned out to be a wild game. Arizona took on the ranked Rebels into overtime, but fell just a little short, 74-72. Both teams shot very poorly from the field, and Nick Wise had an open 3 at the end of regulation to win it. Came up a little short. Derek Williams was phenomenal in this game and scored 28 points, grabbing 5 rebounds, and was proclaimed a beast by UNLV's coach Lane Kruger. Wise seemed to be a little slowed by a twisted knee in the first overtime, but played the remainder of the game as many Arizona fans breathed a sigh of relief on that one. But yet another close game not going the Cats' way as they fell to 3-3.
The Wildcats have lost some pretty close games here, and then some not so close games, but we're not going to mention that game last week against Oklahoma.
Tough one.
Tomorrow, the Arizona men's basketball team looks to get their 4th win against Louisiana Tech, and after a tough game on the road versus Oklahoma, the Cats are hoping for a victory. Louisiana Tech is 7-1 and averaging 81 points per game in their last 5 wins. The Cats are averaging 75 points per game at home, and they're going to need to shoot well against a Bulldog team that holds opponents to 65 points per game. Tip-off is set for 9 p.m.
Well, that'll do it for us here on this edition of the ZonaZoo Sports Report, and it's the last show of the semester, Matt.
Blown by.
Must have been real fun. Have a great winter break, everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. You can make it up if you want. But let's go, Cats, and we'll see you next year.